You're listening to the Golden Heart Wedding Photography Podcast. We're your hosts, Lindsay and Michelle.
Our mission is to connect creatives, learn from one another, and grow together as a community. On today's episode, we chat to Nina from Nina Based Photography. We talk about how she developed her unique style, working with her husband, and the importance of prioritizing yourself in this industry. Let's get right into it. Hey guys, welcome to our newest episode. Today we're chatting to Nina from Nina Based Photography. Nina, we are so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to start it right off. So we want you just to tell us just about you and how you became a photographer and just basically how you got started. So did you study it or just how long have you been shooting? What's your story?
Okay, great. Hi guys. First off, well done on taking the leap to start a local podcast. I really love and admire your vision. Stuff like this always makes me realize that I'm a bit more introverted than I thought. So, I'm Nina. How it all started, at the age of 14, I took all of my life savings and I bought my first camera and I started shooting billetjies rugby because I wanted to make my own money because that's what 14-year-olds do. One of my dad's colleagues took me along to a few weddings and I think that's where my love for it started. The rush, the emotion, the energy. I really just love it. I shot my first solo wedding at the age of 16.
Wow.
And then I went off to study BSc, actually a totally different course. In my first year, I started working with Ricardo from Verve, who's now Frank and the Misses, and who was and still is such an amazing mentor to me. In my second year, I started shooting more of my own weddings, and really finding my own style. When I finished my studies, I went full time. So it's about 4 or 5 years now. And I definitely also think the past year has forced me to reflect on my journey and where I'm going. Where I want to go, what I want out of it, and what I want my work to look and feel like, what I stand for in this very volatile industry that we're in. That's my process.
I love how you said you started shooting rugby at 14 to make money because that's what 14-year-olds do. I'm like, that's not what I was doing when I was 14.
Yeah, me neither.
I was watching TV and looking at boys. Yeah. But I mean, it makes sense to see like how successful you are now because how old are you now? You're still pretty. You're still quite young. Yeah, I mean, if you look at how much you've done. And I guess it makes sense because you started so young and you've got that business mind. It's amazing. Well done.
Thank you so much.
You studied a BSc. Do you find that it's played a role in your, or it's been useful, or do you kind of just chalk it up to a good experience?
I think it's definitely useful to some degree. I think it's more meaningful in the sense of how my brain developed, how I was supposed to think about stuff. But I've never actually truly used it in the sense of the word. So I think it's a bit a best of both, or worst of both. Didn't really use it. Not using it now, but I really like the experience, and maybe one day I would like to
awesome.
Use it, but not in the next few years.
That's very cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. So Nina, when I look at your style, I feel that it is very unique. I think I personally haven't seen anyone else that shoots like you and that has the same editing style as you. So I want you to walk us through just how you develop that. And when I say like your style, like for me, it's like emotive and honest and just really the emotion behind it, and then your editing style. So just walk us through how you developed it and where it all came from.
Wow. I really feel style is about the look and feel of your work, which for me is more organic and emotive and natural. I really like the raw stuff. And I always, I think it's a bit of a joke, but I think both of you will understand to a degree. I grew up in the industry when presets weren't really a thing, yet. So in that sense, I had to figure a few things out to get the look that I wanted. So I largely went to YouTube to figure out the curve, and I tried to figure it out from there. I think definitely with style, it really takes ages, and I don't think you ever. It's one of those things where you don't ever arrive, and it's just oh my word, yes, this is my style, I love it. I think this is always something you work with and you struggle with, and I really think so many people get tired of their own work, and they tend to like change it altogether, which it's not necessarily a mistake, but I really feel if you find something that might kind of work, stick with it and run with it and trust the process. I think that's the look part. I believe that the feel of your work is what matters most, and that boils down to personal vision and personal approach. I think I've always had a bit more observant and unobtrusive approach, if you can call it that. I'm a bit introverted, and I prefer not to draw too much attention. And I think that definitely gives space for actual authenticity. I know that word is so misused and overused, and in Afrikaans it's called bolregerij. But authenticity, for actual authenticity. I think on a wedding day, I believe it's all about anticipation and trust. Your client has to trust you enough to be vulnerable in your presence, and if you didn't spend time to build that relationship with them beforehand, or if you're just unable to connect with them, that just won't happen. That trust won't happen, and you won't get that space, and you won't get that vulnerability. I really feel it's my job to firstly read a room and then create an atmosphere where my couples feel safe to experience that emotion, and that really requires patience. I know you asked about direction. I think I do direct my couples, or I help and direct them to some degree, but I don't pose them, and I would prefer to brief them beforehand so they know what to expect. But I don't pose or force anything. Obviously, I think family photos. There's a degree of force in there. But other than that, I really try to keep it as natural and organic as possible, and as uninvasive as possible. And as I said, it really takes time to find your style, and you definitely won't always book the stuff that makes your heart beat harder. But when you do it, it really is worth it.
That's amazing. I love what you said about creating an environment that helps your clients to feel comfortable and safe, and building that trust beforehand. What does that look like in a practical sense for you, that creating trust and building that safe environment?
I actually, when you said that, I thought about, I worked with a photographer a while back who, when I told them I always, or 99.9% of the time, meet my couples beforehand, whether it be over coffee or Zoom or a gin or for the engagement shoot and a chat afterwards, they were really like surprised, and they said like we never meet our couples beforehand, which was I don't think there's necessarily something wrong with it, but I don't think there's any way you can really build a connection if you've never met someone and they rock up and like at your wedding, which is one of the most important days of your lives. So definitely with a pre-wedding meeting, Zoom definitely makes it easier, or it really helps.
Great.
But and actually even before that, from the get-go, to find a way that helps you filter your inquiries, so it's more in line with your brand, and which is hard. I don't think any of us has figured that out. But and asking the right questions from the start, and being able to selectively say no when you really feel you have to. And then as I said, pre-wedding meeting, your communication up to the day of the wedding has to be on par with your brand, with what you want to get out of them. I like to do an engagement shoot, but it's not always possible, especially if you have international clients, or everyone doesn't want that. So it's ideal if you can do that, and it's nice to be able to get to know each other, to get used to their vibe.
So would you, would you throw that in for free just to kind of get them, or do you kind of just advertise or kind of push, like, I really recommend an engagement shoot? Or?
Yeah, so I some of my packages does include it. I think like 2 of my 3 solo photography packages includes it, and if they have to like choose between an album or an engagement shoot, I would definitely try to recommend an engagement shoot, because I really want to get to know them, and they have to get to know me and my style. And at the end of the day, it's not natural to be in front of a camera, so you want to make it as natural as possible and as comfortable as possible. And if you, as I said, if you don't know someone, you won't know how to do that. So it's a hit or a miss. You trial and error, you as both of you will know. But you learn to direct yourself in the right direction.
I feel like your, and Mish touched on it earlier, your style is so unique, and it's definitely got an art quality to it. And I mean, even just looking at you now, there's Matisse prints behind you, like you are an artistic soul, you know. Do you feel, it's true. Do you feel like marketing yourself that way, or maybe it's not even intentional, maybe it's just how you are, do you feel like you kind of have to educate some of your clients around that? What I mean by that is, do you feel like some clients might have heard of you from so and so and had a look at 1 or 2 photos, and maybe they're expecting X, and you're like, actually, like, this is more my style, like, you know, some of the blur is intentional. Do you feel like you have to educate some of your clients, or do you feel like those clients would be one of the situations where you're like, okay, maybe we're not the best fit, maybe find someone else?
I think it's definitely both ways. As you said, I have to I think you always have to educate people to some degree, but also connection is something that can't be forced, and you won't know that on the get-go. So that's also quite an, I don't want to say an issue, but you have to angle yourself that way, that people know connection is a big thing for you, and I always say that from the start. So I really think you always have to educate your clients, at least to some degree. It is their wedding, and it's not something they do on a regular basis, and this is something we do every weekend. So I don't think and I think that's something my mum used to say to me. Like she said, Nina, this is their first time, or they don't know how this works. Like, you can't expect them to know something because they don't. So I think it's quite a you have to educate people in some way, and also you have to see a full wedding of your photographer before you book them. I don't know how anyone books someone without seeing a full gallery, or at least one. I think actually Skelly from Photography shot our wedding, and I think it's different because I am a photographer, but they were one of the first photographers I followed along from. I think it was from 2011, and I was obsessed with his work. So by the time I booked him for my wedding, I think I've seen like,
you've seen so much.
Things.
Yeah, no.
Maybe it's a bit creepy.
You're like, oh, that pose. Yeah, another one from
I know that one.
Melinda's wedding. Yeah.
Not this wedding. I know. I saw it. And I think when you said the blur is intentional, there's something I was obsessed with Christine Mankis's work when she was still like very active in the wedding industry, which is like 8 years ago, or I'm not sure how long ago. But she once said, she also said something in the line of, the blur is intentional. I give you a certain amount of photos with a certain amount of blur because it's what I do.
Yeah.
I think a lot of my clients know that, but I also think some of them, as you said, if there's some degree of connection missing, they might get a surprise.
I love it. But then it's also like, well, there's enough photos, they can also just leave them out.
Yeah, I think that's also important. Like, yes, you are an artist, and yes, you want people to understand your brand and your vision. But there still has to be some degree of normality, and some degree of afronding. What's the word?
Yeah.
Professionalism.
I don't know.
Straight horizons, stuff like that. That's a non-negotiable. So I think there's a lot of factors that has to do with it.
Yeah, I think it's really important to have the right clients who really know your work and, just like you said, appreciate why you do what you do. And I know I've spoken to you before about this, and your husband also recently started his own company where he does the films and you do the weddings. And I know you told me that a lot of times you working with a videographer, you guys just weren't really on the same page because they didn't have the same vision as you. So why don't you just tell us about your husband's business, and firstly, why is it separate from yours? Do you guys feel that it's important to keep it separate, and then just working together and having the same vision for both your brands?
Yeah. So we decided to keep it separate because Nina buys video sounds lame. I'm kidding.
Sorry, Hanu. Mr. Nina.
I think. First off, so we actually in the beginning it was under my name, but I really felt I don't want to take credit for his work. So but yeah, the decision to keep it separately was definitely based on exclusivity. Yeah, contrary to popular belief, all couples don't want a combo deal, but rather the power of choice and artistic freedom. So, yeah, we hadn't actually started doing video because, well, we went through a phase where we were working with videographers who really didn't understand our style, or it was just so different. Like they wanted to style everything and we style almost nothing. So it's quite a big contrast, and it's very hard to do what you do if someone doesn't understand your vision, or don't even, some people just don't respect it, which is also, it just happens that way. So we started doing video, but yeah, we absolutely love working together, and we prefer it that way because our styles are our styles definitely complement each other, and it provides a seamless flow on a wedding day. So we do offer combination packages for that reason, but we also don't want to take credit for each other's work, and we appreciate our creative freedom. So we're also available separately.
Because Hannah used to shoot with you as a photographer initially, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So do you?
He sometimes still does. Yeah, he sometimes still does. It's so weird. If he has a weekend off, he wants to go and shoot with me.
Yeah.
Which, if I have a weekend off, I want to lay in bed. So it's very sweet. But yeah, we really just love to work together. So it helps. But also, I think I respect the couple's choice to be able to book us separately.
Yeah. And do you feel that, like when people book photo and video, that they would take both of you? Or is it kind of like most of the time just photos or just video? Yeah, how does that look?
I think it's like I think 50% of the time I do photos only, or let's say 40-60. 60% of the time, if they book video, it's nice if they book both of us. As I said, our style really complement each other, and it's very, very easy. Very, it's such a nice flow. Yeah. So we prefer to
work together.
If there's a videographer, we prefer to be our team.
Yeah.
But if it's not, I can you just work around it. You don't have a lot of options. But yeah, I think it's like 40% is photos only, 40% is, or 50% is photo and video, and the other 10% is with outside videographers, which we don't know.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Amazing. That's very cool. Yeah. I've just been thinking about it as well, because people keep asking me, but I'm like, my husband's not, but we can't work together as well. We've established that.
People feel, if you have a boyfriend, you have a videographer.
Not always.
And it doesn't equal each other. So, I don't think you miss out.
No.
Sorry, I don't think you miss out on work, on a lot of work, because you don't offer both. Like, I really don't think so.
I don't think so.
I hear that a lot. It's
Yeah,
not.
I think if a couple wants to book your work, if they like your work and they want to book you badly enough, then they'll make a plan for a videographer.
Exactly.
I think it would make your job. I mean, even for myself, when I'm working with videographers that I know, and I always recommend people that I've worked with and that I like, it makes my job easier. But I think if they want to book you as a photographer, then they're going to book you as a photographer.
Exactly.
Always what's meant to be for you will be. You can't force something. I really believe that very firmly. So I've been obviously following your work for some time now, and I've started noticing that you've started saying that you're taking less weddings per year.
and you also post quite a lot about a work-life balance. And why don't you talk us through a bit about that decision to doing less, and what's the thinking, what's the decision making behind it?
This is actually not a new thing for me. COVID just switched it up a bit, obviously, as it did for most of us. So I don't think it's ever an easy decision. I have FOMO. It's really hard to miss out and stuff, but also having a healthy work-life balance and fighting against the ever-consuming hustle culture is worth it. And I actually posted something about this a while ago. But I truly believe that a full calendar and a busy mind will keep you from creating genuine, lasting work, and that you cannot give your all when you are overworked and halfway down the burnout cliff. So it's a very hard decision. As I said, I have FOMO on a lot of levels.
Also the money, I mean.
But
when you're like, could do with an extra little bit.
So always could be all. But I think my aim is to do less and to do it exceptionally, and for that you have to be more exclusive with what you do. I don't think there's I think that there's actually a lot more to it. Because of COVID, we had to shoot 2 years weddings in 1 year. And I've never been so drained in my entire life. Like I've always felt like December 2019, I was like, this is the most I've ever done in my entire life. I am so tired. Like, I had no idea. I had no idea. I think it's really necessary. You cannot spread yourself that thin and call it healthy or fine. It's always weird for me when I see someone post, okay, wedding 2 out of 3 for the weekend, or something like that. Like I understand that sometimes you are forced to do that, but I don't think if you do it on the regular, it's fair to your clients, because they get the burnt out version of you, which is the lesser version. I'm saying this because I've been in the industry for quite a while. It's a tough decision, and you just have to stick with it, at least to some degree. And
how do you decide like which clients to take on? Like, what is your process of actually choosing them?
I think what really helps is I prefer for clients to complete my contact form, and in my contact form I give my, like, roughly, because I never update it, roughly my starting rate, which helps that someone doesn't mail you with this expectation that it's going to work, and you are unable to and it's not going to work. You are unable to do something for them to help them. So I think that's like quite a nice horrible sifting method, and as I said earlier on, asking the right questions. If I always have I don't think it's definitely not unreasonable, but let's say I have 5 to 7 questions I ask my couples beforehand, or basically before I send my packages, and I think I focus quite a lot on how people answer those questions. I've gotten mails where people are like, I don't understand why you want to know this.
You're like, okay, bye.
Yeah, you're not my client.
Yeah, I don't understand why, like, how you expect me to shoot your wedding,
Yeah.
how I'm shooting it if you don't even want to tell me how you met.
Yeah.
I'm not asking your social security number or your monthly salary. I really just want to know the basics.
Just about
so,
you.
I think that really helps.
Okay.
That normally that's enough.
So you don't do a first come first serve basis. You'll turn away, You'll kind of not accept a wedding, even though you're available on the date. Or how are you kind of structuring the year? Because I know it's for next year, hey, that you're taking less bookings.
Yeah. I don't actually book for 23
Okay.
yet.
So
I'm not sure if I have to. I'll just figure it out how I go.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
I think it's as I said, I think it depends on the reaction. If someone values your work, you will always have such a solid ground to base your relationship with them on. So it's a hard one. You don't want to say no. It's easier if you limit yourself to certain areas around certain times of the year. Say you only take Gauteng weddings on in this time of the year, and other time of the year you might take Western Cape weddings. But I don't think you always, we've all experienced that feeling when someone mails you and you get this absolutely beautiful email and you are fully booked.
No.
Yeah, we all know that feeling.
Yeah.
So it still happens. It still happens. You just try to limit it.
See, I would be so tempted
happening late.
in that situation to say like, oh, I could, but I've reached my max, but maybe I'll just do one more.
Yeah, maybe just do.
Yeah. So I definitely do that.
Okay.
If it's not obviously on the same day. I do sometimes. Like, I think you have to give yourself span of, like, let's say 5 weddings. It's a lot.
But it's
You don't know how it's going to play out. 5 less or 5 more. As I said, I have FOMO. I really, it's a struggle, guys. It's really hard to say no.
I feel like I don't know if I would ever get to that place, because I just feel like, what if I miss out on something? So I can completely relate with that.
What if it's actually fun?
What if it's actually like an awesome wedding and I turned it down? I'd be like, what? I'd feel horrible.
It's happened. It's happened, but I also, as I said, I'm a firm believer of what is supposed to come your way will find you. So when I have like really bad FOMO, I just like channel myself into this was not meant for me.
That's good.
So it helps. But I know the feeling.
And one last practical question on that, because it's something I think I'm considering as my daughter grows older and as we think about expanding our family. I don't want to be working every weekend, and I don't want to be missing every sports games and all those things. But I think obviously we need to make a living and we need to do what we do. With your decision to scale back, did you increase your prices, or have you kind of that makes it makes sense.
No,
good.
I don't think you have to balance it out in some way. So yes.
And your clients, I mean, when I look at your you saying you exclusivity, it almost makes you more admirable. Have you found this from clients? Have they kind of been like, oh, I must get in there quicker?
I think that's also like a misconception that it's a booking tactic, which I think it helps for it helps people to reach out initially.
Yeah.
But that's really not the aim. You want people to know, look, I really want to shoot your wedding. If we can make this work, if you value me, if we have a connection. But I'm just taking this amount. So if you are, I know on Marketplace they sometimes say only serious buyers.
Yes. Yeah.
That's you.
So in some way, like, that helps to say only serious buyers. So I think this is such a challenging topic. But as I said, if you spread yourself, that then you I think both of you will definitely know, you don't want to go 2 hours overtime at every wedding. You want to be at home with your daughter Lindsay. You want to be at home with your husband. I want to see my so no, I think it's all about the balance. Definitely.
Yeah, I think like balance is really important. So I think good for you for actually taking that step and actually capping yourself. I think putting yourself first in our industry, I think it's very rare. So yeah, well done for you. And that brings us to our next, big pleasure, really. And it brings us to our next little segment. So it's a little recurring segment that we do in every episode. And what we do is we take one photo from your Instagram and we have you explain just the behind the scenes, what went into it. So your photo is super unique. So go ahead and explain to us, just about your photo.
So in short, it's a photo of a dog, and in the midst of the ceremony, lying on the carpet, on a Persian carpet in front of everyone. I took this photo at a very significant wedding in Kloof in, I think, December 2018, actually. We shot the wedding of the owners of Zokala, which is the brewery next to Mina's Art Cafe. I absolutely love that place. Mina's. I don't drink beer, so I won't know if Zokala's great. The gin is nice. And the dog in the photo is actually their own dog. So it's not the case of the stray dog in the photo. And their pets were around the entire day. I honestly just love the honesty and the rawness of this entire wedding. Catherine got dressed in her parents' home in Tanin. Two of her aunts made her satin dress. It was actually like, I think it was dyed 18 times to get the right pearl shade they wanted for the dress. And it was actually so cloudy and so misty that they had to do the buttoning up process with a flashlight because it was so dark. It was lovely to shoot though. It's one of those, normally when you get in a room and it's just so dark. This was not like that. It was nice. It was just lovely. And Luca's family owned the venue, so they did the flowers from their gardens and from the surrounding area, which is Kloof, which is absolutely beautiful. And they do this thing. I think they do it at all of the weddings, but they really give you, like, their pre-drinks is amazing, and they give you a home cooked meal, but it's
amazing.
Good.
It's spectacular. It's so good. So, I just love that place. The Tulis are amazing people, and I just love the fullness of this entire wedding.
Oh, that is so beautiful.
Yeah, it also kind of, I feel like, captures your style as well. That like honest, emotive, and like hearty kind of, like a homemade hearty meal.
Thank you.
There we go. Not that your work looks homemade.
It was grueling to choose not even a handful of photos to send you. I think I struggled with it for hours. So I will never know if it really encapsulates my brand, because you never see it how
Yeah.
other people see it. So yeah, I just hope it works out.
No, even before you came on, like we said, like whoa, the photos you sent, I'm like mind blown. They were so good, like really.
So good, yeah.
Yeah, it's just
Thank
this
you.
amazing.
It's such a horrible thing that you will never value your own work
Yeah.
to
I
its
think
full
so, yeah.
potential. Or maybe it's just me, but I just wish we can all see. It's like looking at yourself in the mirror. Like you will, like a few people will be able to see
The
like
real.
the true them. So yeah, the true reflection. So thank you. It's lovely to hear that.
It's the truth. So I think the kind of the last question we just wanted to ask was, and it's something that we ask all our guests, and it's what is one thing you wish you knew when you started?
I have 3.
Perfect, go for it.
That's good.
Quick. First off, and this is a big one, stop glamorizing being a wedding photographer.
That's awesome.
You can, if you have a vision for it, sure, go for it, but don't think it's glamorous. Think you want to do honest work and you want to give every weekend you have to work on something beautiful and energetic. But do not glamorize it. It's a weird cycle. I think everyone experiences this. You get to a wedding, it's like this absolute high. Like an entire day for 10 hours, you are engulfed in the best day of someone else's life, or one of the best days, and then you get home and that's quite an interesting. It's lovely and it's exciting and it's every job has its downsides. So just don't go in with the mindset that it's going to be glamorous.
Yeah,
that's all. And second, be patient. And I'm saying this to myself as I sit here as well. But really be patient. It takes longer than you think it does. And I think that's the biggest one. Really be patient. Give yourself a break. Put in the work. Like if you think you are giving everything, give double that amount, and then you might be giving everything. But be patient with the process, and please edit out the light switch /
telephone pole.
It's called diligence. Just do it.
Straight to the horizon. Yes.
Amen.
Thank you.
Oh no, it's really is like that simple thing that just elevates work.
Exactly. Teach
100%.
yourself. And Lindsay, this is actually something I think you taught me. We actually did a shoot with her in 2017.
I don't know. I can't remember.
18.
Yeah.
Like 17.
17, 18.
I think it was 17. Yeah. It was absolutely, it was spectacular. It was amazing. Like, I've never seen,
Thank you.
I literally get place, as I said here.
It's because you were cold waiting in the dark.
Wow. It was an absolute experience.
Oh, thank you.
And I was so glad that we got stuck there. Because I could ask you all the questions.
For those of you that don't know, we did a couple shoot at Cape Point and we got locked in Cape Point at night. We had to call Mountain Rescue to get us out. It was a whole thing.
And our phones was in the car and Lindsay's phone was on 1%.
Oh my word.
Like we sat there for I think 2.5 hours.
My husband was on his way with bolt cutters to cut the gate to get in because no, it was amazing.
It was just so good because I could ask Lindsay everything I wanted to know. No. Thank you. You can still bill me for that. It was just so great. But I really in the photos now definitely. From a photographer's perspective, but I saw how the finer detail, and I saw some of the retouching work you did, and I really, really appreciated it. And it's not, it wasn't like, oh my word, I can see it.
Yeah.
It was just so nice that someone really has this attention to detail, and it just really made me feel so valued. And so thanks again for that.
Yeah, no, my pleasure.
Yeah, and edit out your light switch /car / lamp pole.
Yeah. Damn lamp poles.
That's my 2 cents.
Amazing.
Hey.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I feel like it was a really cool session, and I know a lot of our listeners are going to be really, really excited to hear this. Thank you for your time.
Guys.
Thanks for joining us,
Thank you so much
Nina.
for asking me, for approaching me. I really feel flattered, and thank you. It's such an honor to be on here, and I know both of your journeys will be so blessed and so fruitful.
Thanks, Nina.
Really just thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Gold and Heart Wedding Photography Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with all our future podcasts. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram as the Golden Heart Podcast. Thanks for joining. Bye.